thought that Mark was going to be here on time. No, he's sequestered somewhere in the Grandioso Sea, locked away in an abandoned Nike missile silo. So if you've waited for him for years, well, I'm not quite sure if it was a good idea. But let's see what we can do. See if I can juggle and swallow some fire, and maybe I can pull a rabbit out of my ass. But hey, it might not always happen. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, in a dove form, I can see him descending. It's Mr.D. Oh my. Well, I'm here. I'm hot potatoes today, hanging out in the abandoned Nike missile silo somewhere in the grandiose OC. I'm sure you're all wondering what the heck is wrong with me. That's what my mom said to me at birth. They probably both looked at each other, my dad and my mom, and said, "What the hell did we create here? I can't believe it." Well, I don't know. And that's where Roswell, New Mexico, and the Area 51 are now landmarks to everyone, because parts of my brain trust are probably hanging out there, and someday maybe the government will unleash, whether it's from Mr. Ed Snowden, who knows, NSA, God bless you, baby. Well, topic today, the best one. But before we even get into this topic, I have a little sidebar issue. I'm calling it breast milk. That's right, it's about you guys out there. Hey, what's the suckiest thing that's ever happened to you in your life? What is the most horrendous, suckiest thing that has ever happened to you? You can email me at sucksradio@gmail.com. sucksradio@gmail.com. Let me know what the suckiest thing. We won't use your name on the air if I do want to kind of bring it back, but let me know what is the craziest and weirdest thing that's ever happened to you. You keep it real, keep it true, and most of all, keep yourself sane if you can, even though we're going into, today's Blue Monday. I know you're probably all listening to me thinking, you're dang right, it's Blue Monday. I'm talking about a subject we call either big magic or flat magic, but it's all Greek to me. I'm saying this to you because Elizabeth Gilbert has a book out that she titles as Big Magic. I read it from cover to cover. I'm not much of a reader. All I do is talk for a living, swallow fire and juggle. That's right, that's just to pay the bills. But her book was an enlightening element to me at the time when I read it about a year ago. And she is quite eloquent. Yeah, maybe she has a history of not such good relationships. I'm okay with that. Great speaker, very enlightened, has a lot of unbelievable thoughts and concepts. But the element that goes through the book, I think it's that part of us we don't ever think about, unless you're like myself. And I've been driven from day one, and I'm saying day one, even from kindergarten till today, to try to be somebody I'm not, to try to put on that enlightened clown suit day by day to get attention. And most of the time, all I get is detention. There's something in each one of us, she stresses, and I can't disagree because I'm not here to be able to lord over somebody else's life and say you can't build ashtrays or look for some, something in something that's not even there. You know what I mean? It's okay. Not everybody is like Steve Jobs, or somebody's like the Beatles, or some people are like, there's just so many creative geniuses. I mean, we're talking about how about Tesla boy? Come on. Elon Musk is one heck of a creative genius, almost ranking right up there with, well, maybe Einstein. How's that? I mean, everybody does something to try to get attention, and other people behind the scenes do things. They don't even give a rat's ass what other people think. They're going to do it. So what is it? What about this creative element that's in our society? If you go to other cultures, say in the the Eastern culture or the Asian culture more so, Anytime you say you want to be a guitar player, you're banned from the environment, and they probably just kind of snuff your name out and you're no longer around. I don't think that's a good thing to go for. But the creative element in the Asian market is no, they're just going to steal what you've done here in the States. They're not interested at all. They just copy what you do. They're not interested in trying to manifest something new and original, because it's frowned on, because it's all technology, or it's making sure you're going to college and working in some factory that is, below sea level. So, and you only work until you're 40 because the toxic waste is so full and so all the way to the brim that you can't do anything. So is it a cultural mandate also here in the States that because your parents say, hey, I don't want you to be an artist, I don't want you to be in a band, I don't want you to graffiti bridges or underpasses under the aqueduct for a full-time job. I don't want you to do that. No, I don't want you to. Anything that's in this creative realm still in the States, even though there are schools and schools and schools and wannabes and wannabes and wannabes out there that are looking for something that's a lot easier to kind of transition into, instead of going 4 years and 3 more years for a master's and maybe 2 or 3 more years for a doctorate. And then after you get out, you're going, what the heck did I do? I didn't really want to be a nurse, or a doctor, or, work at Yale or Harvard. That's not my cup of green herbal tea. It never has been. I'm more of a Starbucks man, and, I think that's where it's at. To be honest with you, there are a lot of people that are trying to copy that kind of trademark, but it's just not always doable. You don't want to follow in somebody else's footsteps unless they have credentials to warrant and to prove that it's worth your time and your effort. I know that me and my young, youthful, I followed a couple people. I didn't even know what I was doing. So let's just be that as it may. Back in the 60s, late 60s, early 70s, I followed it. I got dropped into this Amway thing by somebody because they thought I was a good speaker. I had just come off my spiel working in the Disneyland Jungle Cruise ride. Welcome aboard the Leaky Tiki. My name's Mark, and I'll be your skipper and guide down the rivers of adventure. Before we leave, I need everybody to look back at the dock because it'll be the last time you see it, that kind of stuff. Yeah, they liked that, and they thought I could probably be involved in their vitamin expanse at that time, and that was Neutralite. And so I got in there because everybody thought they could make money off of me, and I became their puppet, and they were the puppeteer. And, I was always, outside the box, never wanted to be, hang-tied and, held at bay for what I could do or could not do. So that didn't last too long. But the idea was there was something inside of me that needed to get out. They tried to harness it, and it wasn't going to work. But, that's just what happens. So, hey, I'm going to cut out of here for a minute. I'm going to get a Monster. I'm going to get a large frap from Starbucks, a Jamba Juice. I'm going to go the large Strawberry Wild, add a little zinc and antioxidant boost, and then I'm going to be better. I'll be right back with you in a minute. You guys hang tight. Thanks. It's 600 degrees, pizzeria and draft house. Sucks Radio, they love it there. They don't leave, they bring a little duffel bag and hang out all day long. Oh yeah, we have to wash dishes, but hey, we're so happy. They make the most creative pies and slices and varied craft brews on the planet. This is the D-Man, Mr.D from Sucks Radio. Hey, I love 600 degrees pizzeria and draft house too. Okay, I'm back. Okay, I'm rejuvenated. You can probably hear it in my voice, amped up about, 20 decibels, kind of moving around like I'm a fish out of water, which has been my life story. Musing. You know what? It's one thing to be amused, but it's another thing to be the spokesperson to somebody else's life, to give them the authenticity or the credentials to do this and or that because they have these kind of talents or gifts. And I believe gifts are definitely imparted into people's lives. I don't know how. I believe in a divine intervention. Some people don't. They would rather believe that it's a Big Bang theory and that just the way it works in the DNA. Well, I'm not going to squabble over terms and try to prove my way over yours because I don't think it's even worth the drama, if you know what I mean. And it's never worth trying to prove a point that you can't even prove anyway, even though you're using hypotheticals, hoping that they sound good, work good, are good, but they're just not. So, what about Muse? I talked about the 9 bitches in one of my episodes, and I used that as my example because in Greek mythology, the whole idea about the muses, the 9 women that were imparted with this creativity that people who felt they were creative, needed to have that creative spirit inside of them. They would pray to one of these 9 bitches, or maybe all 9 at one time. I have no idea. I'm not back in that time period. It sounds a little weird to me. I said it sounded a little bit like Mormonism, but we won't go there on this episode, or you can always catch me in some chat room about that subject. But I'm telling you, without question, this whole idea about myths bothers me to no end. But the idea that you want to be creative and you're going to be relying on some woman or some myth, I'm sorry, I'm not going for that. I know your mom wants you to do something, and so if you want to call her your muse, go for it. Probably you've been cast down and pushed under because of your parents at times, and I'm sure your mom loves you dearly, but she wants you to make your bed. Got it? That's what happens. So, who's the one that's got it? Who has this creative gig going on? Who are those that are imparted with certain talents that supersede other individuals that work just a normal 9 to 5 and, that's it? They only work 9 to 5 for the man. They're not looking to try to expand their horizons. They're not interested in Tony Robbins. They're not interested in the big magic concept. They're basically lying flat on their back. You know what I mean? Not doing yoga, not thinking 24-hour fitness. They're not looking to change the planet. They just want to subsist. They just want to hang in here and just do their 80-year gig and their exit stage door left, bye-bye. Well, that's not what I'm talking about here. When I said big and or flat magic, for some people, it is big magic. To learn your gift, to find out you got it, and then you know what it is a tremendous, tremendous enlightenment. And there are those that are flat magic, and I call that those people that have or are searching for opportunities or searching for the mystic. They're looking, they're wanting, it's there, but hey, maybe they haven't found it. And I think in most cases, a great number of people will never find it. And those especially who don't give a rat's ass will definitely accomplish that goal real quick. So who are those that are imparted with this magical, wand idea? Hey, being dubbed, knighted, hey, you got a talent. Steve Jobs, hey, was he a creative genius? Some think he was a master. Some people think that, there are a lot of people in today's world, whether it's in music, whether it's in the arts, whether it's even in the, scientific. What about the cure of AIDS? How about all those people that are trying to find cures for problems that we always day by day, 24/7, 365, have to deal with? What about those people that are going through formula after formula, doing everything they can to find the mystery magic in some kind of potion that will actually heal or cure diseases that seem somewhat incurable? That's all part of a gift and a talent. I have an autistic person in my family, and you know what? Autism, well, I'm not going with the why autistic, but they are. He is. And what about his gift? I mean, how does he qualify here? Or does he? He definitely has hands-on mobility. He loves to do those kind of things. Is that his gift? To do things with his hands? because maybe his thought process is not quite as fluid as other people? Well, maybe so. But what about the rest of the world? If there's over 7 billion people floating on this orb, what about all those people? Do they all have gifts? Who qualifies? I'll tell you, I'm not quite sure about that one. What in the heck does it look like? Who qualifies and what is the gift? What is it? What are these elements that produce creative thought, creative lifestyle? Somebody who wants to spend nights trying to find something, to create something, to make it happen. And I'm not talking just in Legos. I'm not talking about doing a crossword puzzle. And I'm not even thinking about, if you keep watching Jeopardy, all the reruns, that you'll be as smart as Alex Trebek. That's not what I'm saying. Close, but not quite. What in the heck is it? What's it look like? What does it look like? What is it? I can only say for myself, I tend to think in very small quips when it comes to writing, whether it's in music, whether it's doing a book, whether it's doing marketing for some company. It's all small quips. I don't remember very well long term or in the hodgepodge. So everything that I do, I have to record down ASAP or it just slips my memory bank and I don't remember it. So everything I do is either jotted down, recorded digitally, or I'm, doing a tattoo on my left arm, so I don't forget what's going on. Because it's important for myself anyway, that when I'm hot and I'm rolling with ideas, and I'm not talking about after I've downed a rack of monsters or have, pilfered some 5-hour energy drink by the dozens, or that I've been hanging out at Starbucks hoping I'm going to get a quiver of juice coming into my head that, hey, I need to do this or do that, or I see this or I see that, that kind of stuff. I think it comes because I'm looking for more in something I don't see. So I'm trying to delve in or jump into that deep pool of thought that maybe I didn't think I had any thought about. Have you ever been there, done that, or actively engaged in working on it as a lifetime project? And I say that to you in question form. Speaking of inspiration, let's take a break here for about a minute, and I'll be right back with you for the final segment. And you're probably thinking to yourself, well, it's about time, Mr. D. You've been yapping for a long time, and maybe, hey, I like what you say, but you need to shut up pretty soon. Well, maybe that's the case. Hey, I'm out of here. I'll be right back in a minute. This is Sucks Radio, giving a big shout out to Elizabeth Gilbert and her book, Big Magic. Yes, you can pick it up on Amazon.com. And while you're there, take a little bit of look at When It Sucks, It Blows by the great, fabulous author Mark Dawson. When It Sucks, It Blows. Or go to us online at whenitsucksitblows.com. And another final shout out to 600 Degrees Pizzeria. Man, I'll tell you, the MT boy there in Texas is doing the greatest job. They have a fantastic operation. And all I can say is, hey, it's worth it. Keep doing it. Thanks, Elizabeth. Thanks, Mark. And thanks, Mark. Oh, my. A trifecta. Boy, you gotta love it. I'm back. Okay. I know you probably had enough of me in the last few segments here. But, hey, I want to try to kind of wrap this whole thing up. It's not something easy to do in a short 30, if you know what I mean. But it does mean I feel a lot to myself. I told you just a few minutes ago about how I live and breathe in quips, small segments of time, and that's kind of how I perpetrate my madness. And people that I know still to this day look at me and go, what the heck's wrong with you, D? What is wrong with you? And I'm thinking, well, not much is really wrong with me. I'm trying to do everything I can to make something happen. But that's just the way I look at things. So where will it come from? We know who, what, now where will it come from? Does it come from the sky? Does it come from those 9 Bs? Where does all this inspiration come from? Does it come from drugs? Is it, touched off when you get a shock therapy, or you've got pillars of meds hanging by you? Is that when all this inspiration, or you're down, you're doing some weed? Is that when it's all going to happen, or you're down in Coors Light by the kegger? What is it? I know that sometimes when you get to the lowest point, you start to see things you never saw. I know for myself, sometimes flourish in the chaos of life. Whether it's existing on its own in natural causes, or I have to create some thunderstorm, if you know what I mean, if you will, so to speak. Sometimes I create chaos so I can get good tidbits of information out of it. I'm not saying that's the process you should be about. I would not recommend that. Dr. Phil probably would never recommend that. Jerry Springer would maybe consider it. Yeah, Jerry, I don't even know you. Where will it come? Is it going to come from New York, or is it going to come from the OC? Is it going to come from your friends, or will it come from your Googling and becoming a professional Googler? Will it come then? I hope it does. Because I'm telling you, if you don't want to change and alter your existence, then probably it's not gonna be Amazon next day Prime shipping, if you know what I mean by that. Where can I find it? I'm telling you, you got to search. You will find something, and hopefully it won't be a 16 gig, you 20 gig. Why do I need it? Hey, I'm a creative person. Why do I need to be creative? Or if you're just a analytical type of an individual who thrives off of numbers and has an abacus in every room, why do I need it? Why do I need to be creative? Because I feel the world needs to hear, to see, and to touch what you have inside. Whether it's, again, DNA driven, whether it's driven by monsters, whether it's driven by real monsters in life form, whatever the reason, I see the value behind trying to find your niche. I call it niche because it is a niche. It's something that's not normally driven. It just happens. Some people make it happen like in seconds. Other people spend a lifetime trying to find that seconds. But it does come, and it can come, and it will come. I promise. You can take that to the bank. Okay? Some bank anyway. And why do I need it? I've already told you. But why do I need it? I need to have this creative juices flowing because I'm trying to help those that want help in life. The book, When It Sucks, It Blows, is all about finding quips, ways and means or how-tos from coming back from adversity. There are things in life that are constantly adverse to what we want or where we want to go. You could be put in a situation where you're living with 5 people in a 1-bedroom. And in that situation, which is definitely greater than a third world country situation, you probably say here in America, hey, that's bad. Or what about the people where I'm at now? There are individuals that are sleeping at the riverbed, that are homeless, yet they're still living just like you and me. What about those people? I know I need to be creative because I think people want to hear what I have to say at times. They don't have to. They can turn me off, and they have. Shut the doors, close the vault, and, kick me to the curb. That's what they've done, and they'll probably do that until I peter out and, vaporize into oblivion. And if that be the case, I guess so be it. But I can't do anything about it. I have things to say. I have ideas and concepts that I believe that can help those that want help. And you who don't want help, maybe right now you don't. And hey, I'm okay with that. When It Sucks, It Blows is all about, hey, if you don't want to make your bed, then have somebody else do it for you, or just leave it unmade. It's the same thing like brushing your teeth. Hey, if you brushed them on Tuesday, do you really have to brush them on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday? And who gives a rat's ass about flossing? Okay? Come on. You know what I'm talking about. Finally, how can we verify it works? Or will it work for me? How can I verify the gifts or the talents that I think I have in the creative world or zone or space work for me? How can I? What if it's music and I look at the numbers out there and I look at everything that's completely counter intuitive for me to say, hey, I'm going to jump headfirst into that one. Maybe it isn't. Yeah, I know I'm up in age, and I know that when I look at the music world, I think to myself, oh my gosh, it's trashy. But there are a lot of people out there trying to do what they can do. They feel they have gifts and talents. They feel they don't know where they're coming from. Some people think they do. Whether it's coming from welfare, food stamps, Medicare, your mom, your dad, your grandpa, your grandma, who knows where it's coming from. But it's coming from something. So maybe it's not so important or imperative that we look at where it's coming from, but at least we're trying to do something with what we have. Come on. Being a lazy begets lazy attitude doesn't ever get you anywhere, I believe, or it does get you nowhere. It's just not worth it. It isn't worth it. So the big magic Gilbert writes about, highly recommend reading the book. Absolutely a marvelous read. I had no problem reading it. I had no problem trying to conceptualize some of the things that she believed, whether I agreed or disagreed. It doesn't really matter. I'm a firm believer, chump change for a life change. It only costs a little bit of money for a life change. If one quip or one line from any book really transforms your lazy ass, then you should be thankful, and it's definitely worth the investment. That's how I believe about my book. When it sucks, it blows. There's no question. I've had people reading it and telling me, emailing me, saying that I'm a sick bastard, but yet there are some unbelievable thoughts and concepts in the book that I am glad I read. It kind of like challenged my status quo. It kind of made them feel uncomfortable, and they were thinking, I don't know, I want to think that. I'm not trying to force feed anybody at gunpoint in some dark alley. The goal in my life, again, as I said, is I want to help those that want to help. Some say, well, you want to help yourselves. Well, sometimes it does take a little bit of coaxing, and sometimes, I'm not the hot coals kind of guy like Tony Robbins is. I don't believe that that's the way to take somebody and move them to the next step. Or bungee jumping from some 250-foot cliff in Butte, Montana. I don't think that that's even a viable option. It's nice to know you have fears and relish in your fears, but it's also great to be a superhuman at times and jump farther than you've ever jumped, Spud Webb. Do things you've never done before. Of course, I am pretty sane and sanitary and normal. I do all the same things every day, and I'm not bored at that. I find humor, comedy, and anguish in everything I look at these days. I mean, I can sit on yahoo.com and just laugh my head off. And one little tidbit, the 3 people that were going on a cruise, they're having a time of their life, shooting all these selfies, and then as soon as they get to the Australian border, booyah, they get caught. Now they're going to do life, the other kind of life that they didn't have, and that's the one in solitary confinement. Oh my, oh my. Hey, the D-man's out of here. Don't forget, breast milk. Remember, your suckiest thing that's ever happened to you, sucksradio@gmail.com. Send me a short what happened to you or what's happened to you now. I'll tell you one real quick one that I experienced. I have a plethora of sucky experience in my life, and that's why When It Sucks, It Blows is something that I was able to master, in the sense that I know that everything that's happened in my life has been crazy and crappy. And, well, in high school, in my senior year, there was a sophomore who was kind of like a out of balance football player that didn't like anything to happen into his space. Well, I was not aware in homeroom that I had said something kind of caustic and malicious Well, when we got into the locker room, in the gym locker, he tapped me on the shoulder and just beat the crap out of my face, that virgin face of mine, the nice 17-year-old virgin face that I'll never forget. That was definitely an eye-opener for me. Yeah, I went home crying, scared shitless. I mean, it was crazy. But that's what happened to me. And that was definitely a sucky time in life. Yes, it changed my life. I went into hiding, and that's why I'm right now still hiding out in the abandoned Nike missile silo somewhere in the grandiose sea. Hey, this is the D-Man. I'm out of here. You guys have a great day here on Blue Monday. I'm glad you came today. I hope you feel the same. You can catch me on the internet all the time in some weird chat room. But try me on whenitsucksitblows.com. Hey, I need your reviews. Drop them down in the box there for me. Let me know how you're thinking, what you're thinking, and why you're thinking, if you know what I mean. We're all about this every single day, toiling and sweating it out for you boys and girls that are out there in the Gaga land, if you know what I'm talking about. This is the D-Man. Again, thanks so much. It's a pleasure serving just you. Subscribe to Sucks Radio, please. You know what that means? Subscribe. I can spell it to you. Do you want me to do that right now? Do you want me to spell it? Come on.